Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to another video in the Sustainable Fashion 101 series. And not only another video, but the last video. This is the last one of this series, which has been many weeks long, so I'm sure many of you are ready for me to move on, but I do think a good amount of you have enjoyed this series, so thank you so much for sticking with me for it. Today's video is all about Prada, which is one of my absolute favorite brands, and to me it's the brand that represents the working woman. And even though I'm working from home right now, definitely still a big part of my identity. So we're going to be talking about Prada in terms of what they're doing for sustainability, what they could be doing a little better, some of their goals, that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about, and something that they are really promoting and something that they're very proud of, is the See Beyond program, and that's CSEA. And what Prada is doing is they are working with high schools around the world to create the See Beyond project, which is focusing on ocean life, waste in the ocean, issues with the ocean, and just kind of water in general, and what we can be doing for the future. So they're focusing on high school students because they want them to get involved and start to make changes for the future. This initiative is something that they're doing in partnership with UNESCO as well, so it definitely has some legitimacy behind it. So what they're doing in this project is that they're working through webinars with students around the country, and they're creating projects. So they're encouraging their students to be creative and talk about learning more about the ocean, talk about sustainability, and talk about the circular economy. So that is kind of their goal with that. And then their other big project that they're doing right now is the Prada Nylon project. And a portion of the proceeds from that goes towards their See Beyond programming. So most of you know that Prada Nylon has made a comeback. It is all over the place. It's very hip and trendy right now as we're living in this sort of vintage revival, 90s revival world. This is definitely something that has been very popular. And what a lot of people don't know about the nylon right now is that it's actually made of eco-nil, which is again one of my favorite materials. A material I think is so cool because it's infinitely recyclable, and they're taking old, I want to say that it's ocean waste. I know that they're regenerating nylon, but I feel like it's ocean waste. I'm not 100% sure that that is true, but they're taking this, right, and using this kind of recycled nylon for the Nylon project. So a couple of other things they're doing, they've joined the Fashion Pact, they've gone fur free, they have numerous LEED energy certifications. In terms of their buildings, they're working on fixing up old buildings and getting them to the level so that they are certified from these LEED energy certifications and that sort of thing, but not creating any new buildings. So they're not building any new buildings for their factories, for their projects. They are really working on renovating old buildings and bringing them up to the level that they need to be as sustainable as possible. They're a member of the Sustainability, Ecology, and Environment Commission program, which is trying to get a lot of Italy's fashion houses to join together to be as sustainable as possible and really pay attention to what they're doing in terms of the ethics behind their products, as well as making their products in an environmentally friendly way. So with that, they're trying to think of tools to help programs pay attention to what they are currently doing and the practices they could be making more sustainable, as well as helping them to create just kind of a level of standard that they want to all follow, and to potentially through that create competitiveness that makes other brands want to stand up and be as sustainable as possible. They also are one of the only companies addressing chemicals, so they've joined another program that's really stringent about chemicals and toxicology in general, the toxicity of some of their products, and they're talking about it in terms of apparel, accessories, shoes, everything. And that is really nice because they are one of the only brands really talking about the chemical aspect that is an issue in a lot of the stuff that is being created, which is important not only for the people that are creating them and us for wearing those products and chemicals, but also for the environmental pollution that comes along with them. Their social responsibility report is giving some real numbers and data and goals. They talk about gender equality, they talk about their emissions, they talk about their goals, they talk about their money and how they allocate their funds, all sorts of different things. So they're being very transparent when it comes to that. So that's all the stuff that they are doing. In terms of things I like to see them addressing more, so I love that they're addressing the chemicals, but I'd really like for them to be focusing on the tanneries as well. They use a lot of leather, so making sure that their leather is made in an ethical way that uses less toxic chemicals, which is really a big issue in Italy because that's where so much leather is made. So hopefully that is something that they will address a little more seriously in the future. But I am really excited about a lot of the initiatives that they're currently taking. And I appreciate that the Prada group is so focused on education and really trying to educate their consumers as well as the next generation. So that is it for Prada, and that brings us to the end. That wraps it all up. I do really, really appreciate you all hanging in for this series, and I do hope that you learned something new, that you have a more appreciation for some of the brands that are kind of stepping up, but also that you hold all of your favorite brands accountable for their goals, but also to push them to create even bigger, more lofty goals for the future. Because as we can kind of see with everything that's happening right now, the world is doing better when everybody is kind of staying inside and being a little bit more digital and maybe being a little bit more cautious about their general lifestyle and kind of capitalism sort of in general. And the world is doing better. Italy is doing better in terms of emissions. I'm not saying like in terms of the whole world is suffering right now, but in terms of the environment, we're actually doing a little bit better. So it'll be interesting to see how much brands kind of pay attention to that in the future and sort of realize how much of an impact they really can have. So yeah, hopefully we can all keep them accountable for that. And so hopefully this knowledge that I've given you throughout this series, whether it was in terms of materials or all of these different brands that we've covered or kind of anything, hopefully that has helped you become a more educated consumer. I ask that you please share with a friend so that you can help spread the knowledge and spread the power, and that you are really careful about the way that you vote with your money, the way that you show these brands that you appreciate their initiatives or maybe not, right? And choosing not to support certain brands. So thank you all so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. This was a series, you know, it hasn't gotten like a ton of views. It hasn't been like my most popular series, my most popular content on YouTube by any means, but it's content that means a lot to me. I learned a lot by doing a lot of research that you all were asking for things that I just haven't paid a ton of attention to. So I loved that, looking into these brands and exactly what they're doing. I had some general knowledge about a lot of the brands and just kind of initiatives that they're taking, but really only things that have come up in the last year or two and only things that are really being discussed. So it was really nice to look into everything, and it's near and dear to my heart, and I appreciate that you all enjoyed it and were curious about it, and you know, it meant something to create content that I felt really good about and that I felt was hopefully educating and making a difference for you all. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you in my next video, which will be kind of back to the typical content. See you then.